This here is the Zeekr X. It's a compact electric SUV, and in our static review it has already impressed us with all the features considering the price. However, today it's also about driving. Is it also good in the driving dynamics? And how does it rate against the competitors internally? Because these are the siblings, Volvo EX30, Smart 3 or Smart 1. And of course, it's also fighting against the other German competitors. Here with Thomas Autogefühl in 4K, full screen, full length. Let's go with the front design here in this gray color. That looks pretty cool. Angular light design here, also really playful. But I think it does suit the European styling. Main headlamp unit below that. And you already saw here when I open and close the vehicle, then we have these animations here, also the turning indicators, but you can even activate a full light show. We have another green vehicle here for you, and there we can see the full glory of the light signature or this light show, both in the front and also in the rear, maybe also reminding us a little bit of Kid and Knight Rider. The length here is 4,43 meters or 174 inches, compact electric SUV. Wheels 19 or 20 inch. Here the bigger ones 20 inch. These two choices. Here also this crossover wheel arches, but always then in this high gloss black. You either get a rear-wheel drive version, so one electric motor in the rear, 5.6 seconds in the acceleration figure, or all-wheel drive, so one electric motor per axle. Then the acceleration is at 3.8 seconds to 100 kilometers or 62 miles an hour, and that's already performance car alike. As for the rear, also a very angular European-alike design. They also play a lot with the lights here. For example, this is in the goodbye show. That looks pretty fancy, doesn't it? And what's also interesting is that they do offer a towing capacity, even in this segment here, 1.6 tons. And that not only counts for the all-wheel drive, but also for the rear-wheel drive version. As for battery and range, only one battery available, 66 kilowatt hours net. That's not the largest one, but also not super small if you compare it to the competitors. The realistic range, I mean, in most ideal conditions, you can score some 400 kilometers or 250 miles with the first calculations. We'll later on test it also when we really drive it. And in worse conditions, maybe 300 kilometers or 200 miles. Once again, later on, concise testing values. Recharging is interesting. They offer 22 kilowatt AC charging. That's, of course, very good. And then 150 kilowatt DC peak. It's around a little bit less than 30 minutes then from 10 to 80% state of charge. So, will it frunk or not? Here we go. Well, there's one. Oh, ain't that cute. Tiny, but there is a frunk. This is the key fob. I'm still glad to have a key fob at all, actually. A very unusual one. You can also open or close the vehicle when you hold it right here. And then you can see here these door handles. They are either flush, this integration, or then when you open the vehicle, they fold in. I'm never a fan of these complicated solutions because at some point they might fail and so on. Then you can see here frameless windows, and door closing sound is actually good, although it's frameless. That's also quite impressive. And the interior build quality, let's check that one out. Here, this is the beige interior here, beige-blue mix, really impressive indeed. And wow, I mean, what you can touch and feel, super soft, high-grade leatherette, completely animal-free. Also here galvanized as for the window lever controls, for example. So this is really high build quality. The lower part, however, and then this hard pack. And also the rest of the interior has this beige-blue mix. If you think that is too loud or too unusual for me, there's also a dark gray one available, so you can also pick that one. And I think that also looks quite cool. So I like both interior colors. You can pick between those two. It's similar like with Tesla, for example. In any case, here the seat is really comfortable. The material is super soft, and also the base ergonomics really good. Steering wheel also feels very good. So the interior build quality from the first side is really impressive. And here, these are still real controls on the steering wheel. And by that here, by the way, you can either, for example, control the volume. And on the left side, you control the cruise control. That leads us to the interior cockpit overview. Really clean. I like the beautiful color combination. On the top part, you have these indentations here, the structure again. In the Chinese version, by the way, on the market, you can also move this whole screen to the passenger side. That's not allowed in the EU spec vehicles. You always have this screen with a rather horizontal layout. The climate control always stays here in the lower part, but you can also control it from the steering wheel or with the voice control, for example. And in this screen here, is typical Tesla layout, where you once set your individual driving settings and then basically leave them as it is. What is interesting is here you have this app view, and they also offer Apple CarPlay or Android Auto. That is a difference to Tesla, and this huge integration of Apple CarPlay. Look at the Google Maps integration here, wow. And when you swipe down here, you can activate the pet mode. We also know that function from Tesla, have introduced that. And here when I open and close the door then, there we go. Then we can also see that we can see it from the outside that the AC is on. And there's even a visualization on the B pillar that the pet mode is activated. It's also a nice idea. Ambient lighting, you can set individual colors. You can also have an animation, or alongside with the music show. Of course, it's better to see when it's dark. Digital instruments, clear and simple to read. And I think this is also enough. Or what do you think? And the head-up display is also standard. And the head-up display also has some guidance, even with some arrows when you approach an intersection. And beautiful details, look at that here, the structure here on the wiper lever, that is, really cool. I love these details. Here, this inside headliner microfiber, this is from 100% recycled material. And here, look at that detail, like classic luggage style or something, this, handle here. Yeah, when it's the overdrive version for 3.8 seconds. More premium details here, for example, on the driver's side to store glasses here, and also with this microfiber. Wow, that feels pretty cool. Beautiful light integration here in the top ceiling. Yamaha sound system here, 13 speakers, and actually delivering a pretty cool sound. So yeah, like that. And also the visual part here is actually interesting. Then USB-C connectors, 27 and 60 watt even, so even for laptops suitable. Then there's another hanger here, and listen to that. Also nice ASMR. Then you have this storage here. However, on the top part, this is prone to scratches here. Then in the middle console, you can slide this one open for cup holders. You can also open that one for cleaning and so on, more storage. And here, this is the inductive charging pad. And here, this white plastic area, this, gets dirty quite a lot. There is cooling, that is actually a good thing, 50 watt. And to put your smartphone in there, you really have to squeeze it in there, but then it's also pretty secure. And you can also lift that whole thing, in this case, and you can also leave your smartphone in. There's also a problem with the inductive charging pads if they're like enclosed. You can see here, it says like, press twice to pay, so Apple Pay is being activated when they're like enclosed that way. Inside of the rear doors, soft touch materials, really good build quality once again, that feels really premium. And then here in the rear, as for the space we have, first of all, for 4 tall adults, it's fine actually. I still have some leg room left, very close. Also the structure here at the back part of the seat, then headroom underneath this fixed panoramic roof, still works with 189 or 6'2". This one, by the way, blocking from the outside 99% of UV radiation and also most of the heat. However, I think that it still gets hotter here when you compare it to a fixed roof. Once again, the seat material is really super soft. It just feels nice to touch it actually. So it is a premium atmosphere. Then you fold this one down, also have some adaptive cup holders. So I think, considering the exterior length, it's also a good offering of space on the rear interior. In the lower part, by the way, you have USB-C chargers, USB-A and USB-C. Another detail here in the rear, these hangers here for jackets. I think it's really beautiful, also pretty solid. Let's check out the trunk. First of all, you search like where they were open, this one, and then underneath this illuminated logo, there's this small button, and that is actually then the opener for the electric hatch. 360 liters or 13 cubic feet. So it's not too large. You have this cover here that you easily put up. Yeah, it's like a simple solution, I would say. The width here is less than a meter or 40 inches, and the length is about 80 centimeters or 31 inches. And then, of course, when we put this one out, you still have some more space underneath. For example, then for the charging cable. Here we go. And to fold the seats, best is to fold this one down and then reach out for these straps here. Maybe the head restraints down. Here, these straps, pull them, and then you can push them forward. Yeah, there we go. This, and also, yeah, it's not the easiest solution. There we go. So, acceleration from 10 to 80. Plop, that's it. Woo! Yeah, David is accompanying me today.
this.
He's like, what the hell just happened? So that was pretty quick here, having the all-wheel drive model. And even when we are at speed, like 70 to 110, let's go. Plop, that's it. Yeah, super quick indeed. Remember, 3.8 seconds is the acceleration figure to 1 kilometers an hour or 62 miles an hour from 0. However, when accelerating, the car did not feel that confident, I have to say, because I was not completely straight. I had still like a slight bend there, and this didn't feel too controlled. So I feel I had fast vehicles that were easier to control while accelerating. Let's take it that way. Of course, from the whole setup of the vehicle, it's also not meant to be a true performance car or something. However, the performance itself is definitely there. Here on the motorway, here 110 kilometers an hour, like 60-65 miles an hour, I think it is not that silent. So picking up some wind noise. However, it is quite loud and windy outside today. You've maybe seen it also in our static shots. But I feel some other competitors would be a little bit more silent here. I've also driven the Zeekr 001. That is the large sedan, 5 meters long and so on. And that one also was a little bit more silent. Of course, it also stands less against the wind and so on. As for the suspension, being here on the motorway, so far so good. I think they found a good compromise here with the 20-inch wheels. At the moment, we don't have fierce bumps and so on. I'll also comment on that later. If you want more comfort, you would need to seek the 19-inch wheels. Of course, then you have a little bit more tire dampening as for that. Let's do some more lane changes, see how the suspension shakes up or not. Just here at 110 kilometers an hour, lane change to the right. Suspension stays relatively stable. The steering wheel itself doesn't give me the most natural feeling. However, there's no dead zone area. Here at the moment, there are different settings available. I have the sport setting, then you have more resistance here. But there is, let's say, not the smooth transition from the lower to the higher degree angles. Let's see if I put it to normal, if that's actually better. Interesting. So usually I prefer more feedback in the steering wheel. But in this case, the sport kind of artificially makes it stronger, and I feel that the normal steering setting is a little bit lighter, yes, but it feels in a way more natural because I think it fits better to the overall vehicle when you have it here in this normal setting actually. Then when we get off the motorway here, let's talk about the recuperation levels. Here at the moment I've set it to high actually, and when I get off then here and just leave the throttle, then I have notable recuperation. Here I can also set it down to medium. When I then lift the throttle, there's a little bit less recuperation. Is it a one pedal driving feeling? That's also strange. Here for the GPS here, we have set the mute setting for everything before, and now it kind of unmuted itself. So they still have to do some software tweaking. I think that's the thing. Also, we have a lot of blinking, beeping, and so on. So the thing is here, on the Chinese market, usually their software is, we experience that with the Xpeng vehicles, for example, that on the Chinese market, they have their software up to date. Everything works well. Then to the European market, they need to adapt it. And also, for example, they don't have the lane keeping assist working properly yet and so on. So they need to do some adaptations. This is all software work. And both, like new manufacturers and also traditional manufacturers are at this moment to actually struggling with their software work. So here at lower speeds now inside the city, let's test it. Energy recuperation level high. Yeah, this is notably now. Yeah, so definitely yes, that is on pedal driving. And medium, let's see. Yeah, it's a little bit less, but still also notable. So here it's rather about strong recuperation, no matter if you go medium or high. High is then just really then the one pedal driving feeling. One more acceleration. Plop, that's 0 to 50. Wow, so quick. And everyone else is gone. Of course, usually in normal driving life, you would not accelerate that hard. And what we can also do to make it a little bit more relaxing on the passengers, set it here, for example, to standard. Stop typing. Watch the review. Just kidding. Gotcha.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Like general overview. Here, when you set the acceleration to standard, for example, or even subdued, then it's just more relaxing, And here for the passenger, it's not like, it's always like flying around with the heads and so on. So it's always about the G-forces. I always realize that when I'm being shuttled in electric vehicles, and the shuttle drivers have not driven electric vehicles so far, and then they're really like fast acceleration, strong recuperation, and you're in the back there, and there's like, yeah. And so I think it's a good idea, especially when it's so capable, the vehicle, to set it to a lower acceleration level just to keep the G-forces down to the passengers. I'm not sure how you guys can pick it up on the camera, but something is constantly blinking, bleep. These are warning things, and they promise to still update that. We are driving very early prototype vehicles, and we have experienced that before, actually, that the software status is not like, on the highest level. The thing is that when the hardware is alright, you can still work on these software things. However, as I said, a lot of the manufacturers, also the classic or the established ones, just named like VW, Skoda, Seat, Audi, they also have a lot of software problems recently because everything is going so fast, so quick, all the development and so on, and you have to keep up. And nowadays manufacturers are throwing stuff on the market and then work on it while being live on the market, like you do with smartphones or software. Back in the days, you develop a vehicle, 7 years, of the life cycle, and then it was basically finished. So one thing that definitely helps against the sounds here, when you deactivate the driver fatigue warning, then it's definitely more silent here. So that I don't have to finger around here in the infotainment system for the climate unit, I can really use my right thumb here and then just control the climate unit up and down, and also left and right for the vent strength. I think that is a very beautiful idea, how to integrate the climate unit and then don't have physical knobs here. I still always love physical knobs down here, definitely, but this is one solution where I can definitely live with. I think I found a good solution that you can still control it. When you press here on the right, by the way, one more time, then you can check consumption data, for example. You can also control your music and so on, but you can always get back here to the AC menu as well. So now driving a little bit slower here, countryside, also beautiful houses here as well in the Stockholm or outside Stockholm area. And when you're driving really slowly, this car behaves absolutely beautiful, like the short length and so on, and then it's also silent enough. It's also easy to steer and control, and you can also enjoy the comfort of the seats. Once again, the seats here and the interior build quality is one of the best unique selling factors here for the vehicle. Just when we were on the motorway, I think they could maybe work a little bit on the insulation there and also on the steering feeling. But here at lower speeds, the steering feeling is absolutely fine. Yeah, and definitely what we've already experienced is they need to work on, on all the software details, that they don't get an error message all over the place and so on. But as I said, that's kind of common for very early prototype vehicles as well. We have all-wheel drive, so here a little bit of gravel road. When we accelerate here, is it still safe? Oh, nice. We have some tire rolling, but still kept it in the lane. However, now I was also at subdued, when I put it here to sport. Let's see, here's nothing happening here. Let's just go back reverse. Here, by the way, also that's not working yet. Putting in reverse gear, the camera is not appearing. They also need to work on that. But they also said they are still working on these systems here. So let's see, now in the sport mode. Now I have to go off the throttle a little bit. That's fun, but I think all-wheel drive system-wise and how the wheels are reacting and so on, that is actually well done. So yeah, attacking this one here, gravel roads, also a lot of fun. So I think it's also really interesting for us always to deliver you, like slow driving, faster driving, motorway and so on, like a wide variety, like a nice mix. Here, by the way, from the gravel, from the stones in the wheel arches, is actually not too loud, so that is actually quite well done.
Where are we going?
I have no idea where I'm going now. Maybe I have to update my software first.
We're in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah. But it's beautiful.
It's beautiful.
Now we did a bigger consumption test loop and we ended up at about 21 kilowatt hours on 100 kilometers. That's 3 miles per kilowatt hour, meaning a realistic range of 320 kilometers or 200 miles. Well, that is not the best efficiency result. We scored similar figures with the Zeekr 001 with the larger vehicle. So the electric motors, they don't seem to be that efficient. Not super bad, but also not on top of the segment. They are rather, towards the bottom of the segment as for the consumption figures. Interior build quality here and the premium atmosphere, that is actually top notch here. And then they also have to work on the software, assistance systems and so on to adapt it to the European market. Pricing, however, very interesting. 45 to maximum 50k, everything included. So the price difference is just front-wheel drive or all-wheel drive, just minor, other extras. You always get the full pack, and considering that price is very decent, because for the competitors you also have to pay way more than. That's very interesting. Now check out also the Zeekr 001, the bigger one here from Zeekr, and also the direct competitors like here, the Smart 3, which is also on the same platform.